Question: what is it that you're doing, or what is it that you're creating that no one else can? As a handmade artisan in your business, whether it's with your products or actually it's how you deliver the products, or actually it's just about something else, what's your special sauce that makes you unique? Today we're going to be diving into that in the Handmade Daily to give you that little burst of inspiration and perhaps something that you can apply into your business immediately so that we're getting that daily stacking of evolving and growing. My name's Lena and I'm the very proud owner of madeit.com.au, where we have over 800 artisans on the platform, the home of Australian handmade, and it's such a beautiful space. And I really invite you to come and check us out, but to also connect directly. I can't wait to hear from you. So this idea today is really about what is your special sauce. And what I find really interesting with this in the artisan creative space is that often what your special sauce is not communicated. And it brings up a conversation that I had with an artisan at one of our artisan meetups that are happening around the country, by the way. They're so cool, where we meet in person. And you don't have to be a Made It member to join, to come along, but there's such a wonderful way to connect with other creatives. But at the meetup that I went to, and this was one that was on the Gold Coast, and one of the artisans was there, and she's a beautiful jewelry designer, and she works specifically with titanium. And now I'm pretty versed in the space of handmade, right? But I'm also constantly learning, and there are so many nuances within everyone's products that you couldn't possibly know unless you are a technician or creative in that space. Anyway, she's showing me her earrings that are made with a titanium base, and I was looking at it and go, oh, I know that I've seen aluminium based jewelry that looks similar. It's different, but it looks similar, and I'm just wondering what the difference is. And at that point, she shared with me so much information about the titanium as the material that she's using and why she uses it and what she's been doing and all the learning and da da da. And I thought, how interesting. I thought, I wonder if your customer knows that. And, we think that we can put something in a product description, right? And that customer's going to go through and drill through everything. And you must know yourself as a customer, right? Buying handmade, that's not often the case. And so there's two parts to this, right? It's about knowing what your special sauce is and then also knowing how you communicate it to customers. Because one thing I know for sure is that whatever you think your customers may know, like whatever we assume, and I will always remember a woman saying to me, this is years ago, and she said, when you use the word assume, right, it's like making an ass out of you and me. And I was like, oh my goodness, it sticks. But when we assume that our customer would know this, like there's a really good chance that they wouldn't. So even for me, I'm listening to her speak about titanium, and I'm like, I don't really know the difference between titanium and aluminium and what's the specialty of it. And she went into so much detail about it, and I was like, great, I love that. Now, how do we put that in a way that customers can understand really quickly? For me, because my background's in marketing and it's very much the way that I think, it's either through imagery or through video, or it's a combination of both. And it's also something that needs to be repeated again and again and again and again. Now, what's interesting as well in the creative space is that because, of course, no one will ever make something that you make in exactly the same way. But you will find that there is similarities in products. And I know I've shared this before, but in my fashion days, having a very successful fashion business, but really it was built on the base of jersey wrap dresses. Now, jersey wrap dresses, are they super unique? And were we doing something that was so radically different from other brands? No. But what was different was how we built the connection with customers. And so they actually felt so connected to us that when they bought the dresses, it wasn't just a dress that they were buying. Now, some of you may find, especially if you're very much front facing on your brand, that may also be the case. So it's about, if you know that, how can you thread that into everything that you do? Like if you really are someone that takes the time to connect in camera over video, then how can you pop that into all of your product pages, especially if you've got a brand name that isn't specifically your name, right? And maybe it's the fact that there's something really recognizable about you that goes into the product photos. And I often use Brona as an example from Lanua Crafts. Just because I'm actually loving watching your journey, Brona, because I know you're watching as well. But in her product pages, for an example, with her earrings, so her ear cuffs, and her earrings, I've got those both on today, but it's actually her in the photo. And so straight away as a customer, because I already love her creations, but getting the reminder of the special sauce in her creations, that is her, also prompts me to go, I want to add to cart and I want to purchase as well. So if you're someone that you don't know what your special sauce is yet, this is your prompt to grab out your handmade notebook and start journaling ideas about what it is that you bring to your creations that is unique. And if you're sitting there going, nothing, my stuff is actually the same as someone else's, exactly the same. Two things: you might be having a bad day, come back and revisit this tomorrow. But second thing is, if that is true, right? If that is really true, then how could you add your special sauce? How could you add that unique aspect about you, whether it's in your designs, or maybe it's in your packaging, or maybe it's in the interactions and the customer service that you bring? All of these things are very nuanced and very individual. So take a bit of time, do some journaling, find out what that is. And then the next question is to say, is it super clear in everything that I do, in my socials, in my product page, in my about page? Have a dig through and make sure that that special sauce is singing. So have a beautiful day. And I would love it if you could share in the comments what you think your special sauce is. And I'm going to go check it out and I can give you some feedback as to whether that special sauce is singing. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.